Guys, it is day 15 of Coronagate, and I was just thinking, coming off the back of something I was reading yesterday. I was reading a book by a guy called Dr. Henry Cloud. It's a book called Boundaries. He's basically a Christian psychologist and speaker. Really good book, and it just kind of comes off the back of that. He says something within his book about the fact that one of the things that happened after the fall is that we found it very difficult to be honest and open ourselves up with other people, or even to open ourselves up to God. So sometimes when we are not in a good place, we don't even feel that it's something we can pray about. We think that God is the kind of God who would look at us and then cross over to the other side of the street. But that's not true. If anything, now is a time in which we need to be more honest. And, so let me just say a couple of things. Even though this has predominantly been quite positive for Abby and I, we felt quite well prepared for this. There have been times in which my head has just been completely spinning, just kind of overwhelmed by the sense of all of the familiar things have just kind of fallen to the ground, and just real anxiety over things like just normal things like going to the supermarket and stuff like that. Just irrational amounts of fear. There have been times in which I've found myself getting really angry. In fact, I think it was on day 6. There was a church that was still meeting, and I shared that post, and I was pretty angry about that. And then I also did a vlog about that, and I still think it's a complete mistake. And I do think that there's an element of righteous anger, but I just don't think that was helpful, and maybe that drifted from righteous anger into unrighteous anger, and just times in which I'm just feeling a little bit kind of just overwhelmed by just the change to the routine. And I just thought it's good to share it with you guys, because I think sometimes we are not open, because we're not open, we kind of repress all of these feelings, and they come out in the wrong way. I just really want to encourage you guys, to find a place. Now that could be through journaling, that can be through vlogging. Ideally, it would be better if there were people that you could speak to, or groups that you could speak to, where you can just get some of this stuff all off of your chest. This is kind of a normal human reaction. If you think about Jesus himself on the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus is sweating drops of blood. He's fearful because he knows that he's going to go to the cross and he's going to be separated from his Father. There's elements within Jesus' ministry where Jesus is disappointed, and I think what we need to do is, although it's good to be sanitizing our hands, it's important not to be sanitizing our lives. That doesn't mean you have to bleed over everybody. I know that some people are too quick to be doing that, and they do it in the wrong places and at the wrong times. I'm not saying that either, but I do think it's important to be honest. And I think the scripture is able to put together two strands, and one is that optimistic, faith-based hope, in which there is a belief that we cannot be conquered, we shall not be moved, but also there's that element of honesty and sadness and lament. You read some of the Psalms, and David is able to go from one to the other in a very short period of time. So guys, it's important to be honest to God. It's important to be honest with yourselves. It's important to be honest with other people at this time. So I just thought I would share that with you. God bless you guys. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Later.